Hello and welcome to the Design Cafe. Oh yeah. Today we're going to actually design a logo for Maestro Mass Media. And let's type that, Maestro Mass Media. So when I was thinking about this logo, I followed the process of design. And the first part of it is brainstorm. So I was brainstorming and I came up with some words that stood out. And some of those words are sound waves, music notes, music sheets, instruments, but also the number 3, because of the Maestro Mass and Media. So we're looking at 3 M's or triple M or however you want to put it. So that got me thinking about different designs. But when it all came to it, I'm leaning towards one that it actually came last, and it was probably one of the better designs, and I'm just gonna build it from scratch. I'm gonna actually need these. Just bring them down here. This letter M is going to be made from a piano. Yeah, so it's going to be like a mini piano or like a MIDI piano, for those of you who know what that is. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. I like the whole concept. It literally tells you everything you need to know in one glance, and that's what makes a logo great. So that's what I'm going to be creating, and I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with this rounded rectangle. I'm going to use gray for my piano keys for right now, just so I can see it on this white background. And I'm just going to create my keys, or my black keys. And just so that both of them are even, I'm going to duplicate this, and then I want to center it with the shape right here. Now keep in mind, I might create this pretty fast, but that's for 2 reasons. One, I've already created this before, and I'm just showing you the process. 2, I play the piano quite often, so I know what a piano looks like. All right, so if this goes by pretty fast, because I'm doing this in real time, so if you feel like this goes by real fast and like, oh, he didn't do any work, well, I did all the work prior to this point, So right now you're basically seeing where the hard work pays off. It's like, put it like this, like if you saw Cam Newton in his prime, and he's like, he won that game, it was too easy for him, like, he's cheating because it's real easy. Well, he put in a lot of practice, so now when it's time for him to put the practice in action, then it looks easy, but it was a lot of hard work. So that's what you're seeing in this. Now I'm going to outline this for one main reason, and that reason is real simple. It's just that I like the way it looks, so I just copied that. So now I have 2 here, and I'm going to take one of them and make it an outline, or put a stroke on it and take away the fill. And instead of adding my stroke this way, see how it's coming inward? I don't want it coming inward, I just want it going out. So I'm going to change this from this, or what they call the center stroke, and I'm just going to do it the outside stroke. Then I'm going to send this entire stroke to the back because I won't really be messing with that a lot. All right, so let me make it a little bit smaller, about right there, I think. All right, so I know you're wondering, okay, so you're making a letter M, right? So where's the letter M that you're talking about? But it's right in front of you, you guys. I don't see how you don't see it. It's also the number 3, but it's really the letter M. So I got it all. I got all the elements that I wanted together. Make this more satisfying. I'm gonna do something else to make this keyboard more pronounced, or make the keys more pronounced, so that you can see that this is in fact a keyboard. So I'm just gonna select these points, round them off just a little bit. Then I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna grab a gradient. All right, so I'm gonna grab this black, and right now it says opacity 100%. I'm gonna change that to 0%. Why? Because let's say I change the color of this key. Now, you see that? Now my gradient is changing colors as well. All right, so it's more, in this case, it wouldn't matter as much because my keys are going to remain black. But if I ever wanted to change anything, it'll look better, or it'll already be where it needs to be if I made changes. And I just like doing things that way, because when you have been doing this as long as I've been doing this, you'll realize that either you would like to make changes or the client would like to make changes, and they could make those changes at any point. And if you want to make your life easier, then you would be prepared for those changes. All right, so now you can see that this looks even more like a keyboard. All right, so now just that subtle gradient on there, it makes the keys more pronounced, make it feel like you can actually touch them, and it lets you know that this is a company that is about music, okay, and sound quality and all that jazz. So yeah, so we have an M, which can also be a 3 if you turn it sideways. All right, so the logo, the text, I actually wanted to go at lowercase m. I want something, a font that's bold like this, but not this particular font, because Gotham Black, although it's a wonderful font that I highly recommend for a lot of things, it's just not good for this particular font. I meant for this particular project. So there is one that I found recently. There it is. All right. Now let's change a few things about this font, which is great already. But I'm gonna change the tracking, because with the logo, you never you never leave it exactly as you found it when you're dealing with the text. All right, so I got that, and I'm just gonna bring that in closer. This part right here is called kerning. There we go. So now the text is nice, neat, and constrained, so it kind of draws you in even more. And what I'm going to do with the mass media is I'm going to actually bring this together, and I'm going to keep those capital letters here, and actually I'm going to make it all caps. And I'm going to choose the same font, but I'm going to make it much smaller, And I'm going to change the tracking on this as well, but not bringing it closer but further apart. And I'll make it a little bit smaller. Something like that. Yeah. So this is a pretty solid logo, and I especially like it on a background. Like, let's say, let me add a new layer. Let's say if I put this on a nice dark red background, and change some colors around, pop, beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna copy this, paste this stroke back in place, but this time I'm gonna take the stroke and I'm gonna change it. So I'm going to object, and I'm going to, I could flatten transparency, but I can expand appearance. So now I have a new stroke that is not a stroke. It's actually a fill that looks like a stroke. So if you look at this and then you look at this, notice that this one, my path is here, and this one I have two paths with my fill inside. So I only have one path, and that represents the stroke. Notice right here there's a stroke. Right here it's only a fill and no stroke. All right, so that's the one I want, this one that has a fill and no stroke. But I'm gonna remove the stroke anyway, make sure it's sent to the very back, and I'm just gonna add a stroke, but this time I'm gonna make it white. And I'm gonna make sure that this stroke is here. So now, voila. And now the logo is